You're lying in bed. The room is dark, and then without any reason at all, you get the feeling that something is watching you. You know nothing is there. You checked. But the feeling doesn't care what you know. It sits heavy on your chest, and suddenly every shadow in the corner of the room seems to have weight. Every creak in the hallway sounds intentional. You pull the blanket a little higher, as if that's going to do anything. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you know this is irrational. You know it, but you can't stop it. Here's the thing, that experience isn't a quirk. It isn't anxiety or childhood trauma or a wild imagination. It's one of the oldest and most deeply engineered features of the human brain. And once you understand what's actually happening inside your head when it kicks in, you'll never think about the dark the same way again. Every human being on the planet is walking around with an internal alarm system that never fully powers down. While you sleep, while you zone out, while you stare at a screen, a part of your nervous system is constantly scanning the environment for threats. It's running in the background like software you never asked to install. Neuroscientists call this the sentinel hypothesis. The idea is that evolution needed a way for sleeping creatures to survive in a world full of things that wanted to eat them. So it built a system that monitors the environment even when conscious attention is elsewhere. Even in deep sleep, certain sounds, a snapping twig, a voice, a sudden silence can pull you back to wakefulness in under a second. Your brain never really goes fully offline. And at night, when everything else goes quiet, that system gets louder. Now here's where it gets stranger. Humans have an almost uncanny ability to detect when they're being watched, even when they can't see who's watching. This isn't a myth. It's been studied in controlled settings. Research has shown that people can detect the direction of another person's gaze with accuracy that goes beyond what random chance could explain. There's a dedicated circuit in your brain built around a structure called the superior temporal sulcus that is specifically wired to process eye direction and social gaze. You are built to notice when something is looking at you. It's not instinct in the loose, casual sense of the word. It's hardware. It's circuitry. And in the dark, with no visual information to contradict it, that circuitry can start firing on its own. Darkness specifically makes this worse, and the reason is what researchers call hypervigilance. When your visual system loses its primary input light, your brain doesn't just accept the ambiguity and relax. It does the opposite. It ramps up. It starts treating uncertainty as a signal of danger, because for most of human history, uncertainty in the dark meant something real was out there. Your threat detection system shifts into a kind of active imagination mode, filling in the blanks with worst-case scenarios. The absence of information gets interpreted as information itself, and so the shadows stop being empty and start feeling populated. The silence stops being peaceful and starts feeling held. Something is watching. There's no evidence for it, but your brain isn't waiting for evidence. And the reason it works this way goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Your ancestors lived in an environment where the cost of a false alarm was nothing, a few seconds of unnecessary fear, but the cost of a missed threat was death. Evolution doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about survival. So it built a system that is deliberately biased towards seeing threats that aren't there, rather than missing ones that are. Every human alive today is descended from the people who flinched at shadows. The ones who didn't flinch often didn't make it long enough to pass anything on. That paranoia isn't a flaw in the system. It is the system. You were engineered to feel watched in the dark, because the ones who felt it lived longer than the ones who didn't. Your eyes are also actively working against you. In low light, your brain shifts from relying on the center of your vision to the edges, your peripheral vision. And peripheral vision is extraordinary at detecting motion, but terrible at identifying what's actually moving. It picks up shapes, suggestions, the ghost of a movement. A curtain drifting from an air vent becomes a figure leaning forward. A coat hanging on a door becomes a silhouette with a head. And crucially, this system was built to err on the side of alarm. If something moves at the edge of your vision in the dark, your brain's first response is not to investigate calmly. It's to fire a threat signal so fast that you feel the fear before you've even consciously registered what you saw. The emotion comes first. The assessment comes second. That sequence fear before thought is the work of the amygdala. It's a small, almond-shaped structure deep in your brain, and it processes emotional significance, especially threats, faster than any other part of your brain can consciously keep up with. Neuroscientists sometimes call this the low road of fear processing. A signal goes from your eyes directly to the amygdala before it ever reaches your visual cortex, the part that would actually tell you what you're looking at. By the time you've identified the shadow as a coat, your body has already flooded with stress hormones. Your heart rate has already jumped. The fear was real before the threat ever was. And at night, with degraded visual input and an already heightened threat system, the amygdala is essentially running hot. It's jumpy, and it doesn't take much to set it off. There's one more piece, and it might be the most revealing. Your brain contains face detection systems of extraordinary sensitivity. It's so sensitive and so biased toward finding faces that it sees them constantly where they don't exist in wood grain, in clouds, in crumpled sheets. This phenomenon is called pareidolia, and it exists because across millions of years of evolution, the cost of failing to detect a face, especially a predator's face, was lethal. So the system was calibrated to over-detect, to see eyes in the dark even when there are none. When you stare into a dark corner long enough, your face detection systems start working on the noise itself. They start finding patterns, and the pattern they're most primed to find is a pair of eyes, looking back. So here's what's actually happening when you feel watched at night. Your nervous system is running a threat scan you never asked for. Your gaze detection circuitry is firing without input to correct it. Your hypervigilant brain is treating visual uncertainty as evidence of danger. Your peripheral vision is flagging movements that aren't there. Your amygdala has already decided something is wrong before you've had time to think, and your face detection systems are building a presence out of shadow and static. It isn't one thing, it's all of it at once, stacked on top of each other, firing in sequence in the dark. And none of it is going away, because all of it kept your ancestors alive long enough for you to exist. You feel watched at night because, for most of human history, you were. The predators are gone. But the circuitry they built in you is very much still running. Every night, in every dark room, in every quiet house, in every moment, when you pull that blanket a little higher, you're carrying the weight of every person who came before you and survived because they were afraid of the dark. The feeling isn't irrational, it's ancient, and it knows exactly what it's doing. But there's something nobody tells you about fear. It doesn't just protect you, it remembers. Every time you've lain in the dark and felt that presence, every time your heart rate spiked at a shadow, every time you pulled that blanket up, your brain was taking notes. The amygdala doesn't just fire and forget, it logs. It builds a library of moments where uncertainty felt dangerous, and it uses that library to respond faster next time. The more you felt watched in the dark, the more primed your brain becomes to feel it again. It's not trauma, it's training. Your own fear response is training itself, in real time, every single night. And here's what makes this genuinely strange. That loop, fear triggering faster fear, was a survival advantage for your ancestors. A cave dweller who got more alert after one close call with a predator lived longer than one who shrugged it off. Sensitivity wasn't weakness, it was the upgrade. The ones who carried their fear forward were the ones who got to wake up the next morning. So your nervous system didn't just inherit the fear, it inherited the tendency to deepen it, to reinforce it, to make sure it never fully fades. Which means the feeling you get in a dark room isn't random. It has a history, not your personal history, something much older than that. It's the accumulated fear response of every human being who survived a night they weren't sure they would. That feeling has been passed down, refined, and sharpened across hundreds of thousands of years. By the time it reaches you, lying in your bed, in your house, in a world with electric lights and locked doors, it is extraordinarily well developed. It is ancient technology running in modern hardware. And the truly uncomfortable part? It works. Not on predators there aren't any, but on you. It keeps you alert. It keeps you scanning. It keeps some quiet, watchful part of your mind online even when the rest of you wants to sleep. You were never supposed to be fully at ease in the dark. Ease gets you killed. Alertness keeps you alive. So the next time the feeling comes, and you don't have to fight it. You can just recognize it for what it is. Not a malfunction, not a sign that something is wrong with you. A signal from everyone who came before you saying, "We made it through the night, now you do too."